recall looking at your depth chart and seeing this many freshmen, Coach, just all over the board for you?
No, not really. It runs in cycles. I don't mind playing freshmen, but going in that you're going to have to live with mistakes that they make. I don't care how good of football players they are, or athletes, or how mature they are. It's still different from what they played, and the speed of the game. As we've talked for the last couple of weeks about who's going to play, they all understand. We throw the ball to Chris Slaughter on the 50-yard go route. If he drops it, it's our fault as much as his. I mean, he hadn't been out there that much. And same thing with Bo Harris playing linebacker if he lines up in the wrong position. But that's what happens when you play freshmen. You're going to have to live with what they do and how they play. Hope they improve. Hope they don't lose their confidence. But again, this group that we just talked about, I think, is going to be very beneficial to this football team later on in the year as we get started for SEC play.
Did y'all go full pass today?
No, we just went shells.
So the same thing tomorrow?
Do the same thing tomorrow. Tomorrow's a night practice. We'll go into the stadium, do a lot of organizational stuff, coming out, lining up, pregame, halftime, all the things that you don't think about, that you have to do the first game. And the game plan is in. We'll also go through that. We'll go through a lot of kicking game in the stadium, talk about different rule changes, such as huddling guys up on the sideline, coming out of a TV timeout. The clock will start at 15 instead of 25 when they blow the whistle, so you only have 15 seconds to snap the ball coming out of the TV timeout. And that doesn't sound like a lot, but we want to be coming out of the huddle in a normal huddle break with 18 seconds, 16 to 18 seconds. So 15 seconds on the clock, you better be at the line of scrimmage. And that was the reason for the change in the rule of coming out of a 3-minute TV timeout to have both teams at the line of scrimmage ready to snap the ball, try to speed the game up.
Talk about how has your offensive line seemed to come together?
It's done well. It'll be much better in 5 weeks than it is right now. But Coach Nall couldn't have worked them any harder. He's pushed them. They've had through 2 days tons of meeting time. It's a lot goes into offensive line. Again, it's a team within a team. 5 guys have to play well with each other. They have to communicate, and that's what you worry about going into a game like this with a possible redshirt freshman and a true freshman playing a lot, and the communication factor. We know that what they can do physically, mentally, we feel like they're pretty sharp on the game plan. But getting into a situation where things are a little bit tight, are they going to be able to hold their composure and communicate and carry out what they need to carry out to make the play successful? It's going to be fun to watch this offensive line. We've got a good group, best we had. Best group, when in terms of numbers, having enough depth to say, if somebody needs a break, we can put them in. In the last few years, and last 8 years, that hadn't been the fact. It's been playing a center, maybe also at a guard position, a tackle playing guard, maybe a center like Jonathan Palmer. Heck, he played all 3 positions. And we feel like now we've got guys that can play. We can also move them around, but we feel good about them playing just the position and backing up and going in and communicating with the group that's in the game.
Coach, as a receiver, do you feel like you have a guy who can change field position? You're that one guy who's big for you?
Yeah, I think Rod Smith is a guy that's proven himself, but Preche Rodriguez has gotten better. The thing that's concerned us with Preche over the years is inconsistency of catching the ball. He's done a much better job of that in 2 days. He's tall, and he knows the offense better. Last year was really the first year he had played, and I think having a guy that's 6'4", with the height he's got, with a wingspan, he made several good catches last year. I think he can be the guy. But I've talked about this guy for a while. I think the guy that's going to make us a better offense is going to be Robert Dunn, playing inside. Last year was his first time really to play. Made some mistakes, but he's matured. He's grown up. He's become more of a leader for us. And when you start doing that, you feel a lot better about yourself. And he's got a lot of confidence. And I think Robert's going to be a heck of a football player for us, because last year with the inside position we weren't that productive. And when you play 3 wide receivers, he's in the game. You've got to have a guy that's productive inside, and we just weren't as productive as we needed to be.
this like your normal first game, or I mean, you know, with all the freshmen you have, as you said, they may not start or even play in this first game, and the fact that K-State, a team that has changed so many things in their defense, the 3-4, and what they've got, is this a typical getting ready for that first game, or is it a little different?
Well, it's a little harder, not knowing what they're going to do on defense. We feel like that they're going to be pretty much what we run. We've looked at some things where their coach came from, and there's not a lot of difference, but you always might have a different philosophy on how much you do blitz or don't blitz, or how much you slant your front, how many players that you play, all those little things that factor in. And they've got some other new coaches also that's on the staff. So there's always the unknown, but that's no different. We've got all of our coaches back, and we've changed a lot, so they won't know everything that we're doing. And they'll have to adjust to it as they go, as we will as we go, watching them play and see the things that they do. That's what's always interesting about the first game. It's always dangerous, and going out that your players, when you have to make adjustments, they don't panic. And that's when it's always good to have an experienced team going in the first game. And neither one of us really are that experienced all at every position. We have our, obviously, weaknesses with experience in some positions, but that's what's interesting about college football. It's always something that's going to happen that you didn't expect.
Montez Billings isn't on the depth chart. What's his status?
Montez, he's been hurt the last few weeks, has not practiced, will not play in this game, might not dress out, but I'd say he's 90%. When we come back next week to practice, I would be surprised if he's not ready. He's just not full. He can't open it up, and it was a hamstring problem.
How about Leon?
Leon went today, not full speed all the time, but went today. He could play. I'll know more tomorrow.
Bobby, as good as you guys were for the most part on defense last year, could this defense be better? Should it be better?
Yeah, we hope. There was times last year when we looked like a good defense, and a couple of plays later we looked like we weren't playing defense. We gave up more big plays last year than we ever had, and that was just we were more aggressive. And when you're aggressive, you're going to have to live and die with that. And I think to some degree this year we've changed our defense a little bit. We've gone back a little bit more 4-3 to help in those areas, to change it around. But I look at the players, and we've got a lot of guys that can play defense. Some have never played though, so we'll be a better judge of this defense probably about the 5th game, as we get to the 5th game, as we get all the wrinkles worked out with all the young guys mixing in and playing. But potentially this can be as good or better than the one last year. But also knowing that this is a little bit different schedule we're playing too. We could be better and still give up maybe a few more points than we did last year.
Even though Brandon Cox has been the starter for so long, do you still see him coming in with a little bit, chip on his shoulder or seeking redemption or anything after being hurt so much last year?
Well, I've always, in my career, watched these 5th-year senior quarterbacks. Never does it fail to see these guys come in and play well. I'd be shocked if Brandon doesn't have a great year. He's worked hard. He's focused in every practice. He's worked with the younger guys. He's worked extra with his receivers. But he knows the offense. I mean, this is a hard offense. This is not something you walk in the first day and you feel good about running it. I talk to Cody Burns every day, and his head's still spinning. But it just takes you a while to catch on. And this is Brandon's 3rd year to start. He's had a great career, to this point. We'd sure love to send him out the right way and stay healthy all year long so he can be as productive as we think he can be. But again, he's our quarterback. He's our leader on the field on offense, and you're going to be about as good offensively as your quarterback in this offense. So the ball's going to be in his hands starting Saturday night at 6:45, and hopefully he can have the year that we think he can have.